Hello. I know what you're thinking. Another DVD is going to tell me why I should give up smoking. Well, this one hopefully will be a little bit different. Let's start off by finding out why people start smoking in the first place.
Stress, unhappiness. I think wanting to do something that would annoy my parents, and it worked. And then I thought, how stupid, but it carried on.
I started smoking when I was about 20, and I did it at the time because all my friends were doing it and I wanted to be big and important and stupid.
It was basically because friends at school, they smoked and they were readily available and cheap, and you could buy them in packets of 5.
I was 18 years old and I needed to rebel. I was ill then. I'd come out of hospital and that was my way of rebelling, knowing that my father didn't like it.
And why do people carry on for years smoking? Well, often simply because it's hard to stop. Smoking can be very addictive. It can be really difficult to make that change and stop smoking. It is, of course, possible, but sometimes hard work.
Okay, so we've heard that people start smoking for different reasons, to be cool, or for peer pressure, or to react and rebel against family and friends. Loads of different reasons. But what I don't understand is, why do so many people with mental health problems start smoking?
We tend to see very high rates of smoking among people living with mental health problems. In fact, the prevalence of smoking seems to be double that which we find among the general population. There are many reasons for that. One idea is all about self-medication. This idea that people maybe try to use cigarettes to combat the effects of mental health problems, maybe trying to medicate against anxiety or low mood. It's often not that effective, especially in the long term, but you can see why people might try to do that.
I think so many people smoke within the mental health service that it's sort of, smoking is accepted as a bit of the norm of what goes on, really. And I mean, obviously people want you to pack up because it's the best thing that can happen, but you know, they sort of accept it as a, you know, the way things are, really.
One of the things which always struck me was that there would be very few non-smokers on the ward, and that smoking had an incredibly important role.
In mental health services, especially hospitals, it was more encouraged than anything. There were smoking rooms which are not permitted anymore, but most people spent their whole stay in the smoking room, and if you were admitted as a patient, the staff used to say, go and join the rest in the smoking room. So it was really an in thing.
One reason why we often see a lot of smoking within mental health care settings is because smoking has actually become part of the culture of mental health care. This idea that mental health staff maybe don't see supporting patients to quit as a priority. Maybe even sometimes smoking has been encouraged, facilitated over time. I think that's changing. I think mental health staff are more positive about people quitting smoking.
So I can see why people start smoking. I can see why people continue smoking. I understand why so many people with mental health problems smoke. But why would you quit? I mean, what's the downside to smoking?
I became very aware of the effects of cigarettes on every part of your body, not just your lungs. The effects on your heart, the risk of cancer was always at the back of my mind.
You know, I had these scary images of the black lungs and all those things that you see on the back of packets, and turn them over and say, oh no, it's nothing to do with me. I feel like I'm every day, you know, taking a step in the direction of making it less likely that I'm going to be one of those victims, really.
The reason I wanted to stop smoking was to be more fit and active and be able to play five-a-side football.
When I gave up, I tended to exercise more because I could, because I felt better.
Since giving up, my asthma has improved. I don't have to use my inhalers anymore, so that's the positive side of it.
The teeth, it's too late for the damage, you know, I've done the damage, but at least I can save the teeth I have got left, because I won't be doing any more damage now.
I'm doing a small part in repairing the damage that I have inflicted upon my system. We all have to die of something, but I'd quite like to have as much time being healthy as possible, thanks.
There are a whole host of benefits to quitting smoking. I mean, for a start, it's the single most important thing you can do for your health. Not just just in terms of cancer, heart disease, but also people say they feel fitter, more energetic, just feeling good about yourself and within yourself, even a few weeks after quitting smoking.
The benefits, I think, outweigh everything, health-wise, mentally as well. I think we're more alert, and the social aspect of it as well. I can smell smoke a mile off now and really notice it if someone's talking to me, they've been smoking.
My fingers, they're not yellow anymore, and I don't smell all the time. My clothes don't smell all the time. I didn't have that added worry of, do people think I'm smelly and dirty because of the smoke? Obviously, financially, it's helped.
You have more money. In a very short space of time, my finances recover quite remarkably. Before, you sort of run into the cash point every day. Now I don't.
Of course, there's the financial benefits, there's the benefits to how you look. Even a few weeks after quitting, your appearance will improve.
All my life I've had sort of blotchy skin and stuff, and I didn't think it was smoking because it was always blotchy. And now, since I've given up, the blotchiness has just gone. So in that way, it made me feel better about myself, because obviously depression, you've got no self-esteem, you know. So in that respect, it did help.
I think for me, the best reason to quit smoking is about grabbing back some control over your life. Maybe not spending money funding the tobacco companies and the tax man. Take back control, quit smoking. Maybe that's the best reason.
I can see the benefits of giving up smoking. You're financially better off, your health is better, your appearance is better. But if you've got a mental health problem, surely it's much more difficult to give up smoking. I mean, mental health and smoking go hand in hand. Smoking's good for mental health, isn't it?
I think that's rubbish, really. I think it's all in the mind, to coin a phrase.
Always that feeling that you've got to have that 5 minutes out. It was like a stress in itself.
I think that I've had a really bad meeting, I'm going to go out for a fag. Actually, how's that going to help?
Not having that need to do that anymore is really good. It's almost like a release.
I would use smoking for when I was anxious and panicky, but then you soon realise that as you're having a panic attack and you're having a cigarette, it doesn't actually work.
The smoking, in my experience, it weren't helping my nerves in the end. It wasn't helping anything.
It's a bit of a myth, really, that smoking can somehow be beneficial for your mental health. We can see why people think that. You know, you see someone lighting up a cigarette and maybe the first thing they feel is a bit of relief, relaxation. But of course that relief is just relief from the withdrawal symptoms that you experience if you don't smoke for a while.
I think smoking is actually depressant, in a way. Mentally, since I gave up, I actually feel much more alert. I feel I've got much more time to do other things. I just feel a lot better. I'll take time now to do things like makeup, which I wouldn't have done before, because I'd have used that time to go and have some cigarettes.
Since I've given up, I've noticed my well-being has sort of been a lot better. I don't take as much medication now as I used to.
Giving up smoking has definitely improved my mental health, I think, because it's helped lift my self-esteem. And I don't get paranoid about people thinking I smell anymore, and so it's definitely improved my mental health, without a doubt.
And it's not true what they say, that you're more confident with a cigarette.
The research is pretty clear on this, is that smoking certainly isn't good for mental health. In fact, it seems to be associated with the onset and worsening of mental health problems such as anxiety and depression. And when we see people quit smoking, studies also show that issues such as anxiety can improve even within a few weeks of stopping smoking. So while it may seem the case sometimes, smoking really isn't good for mental health.
So people are saying then that quitting smoking is good for your mental health. But how do you go about quitting? Where do you go for help? What services are available? How do you find out? What do you do when you want to stop smoking?
Willpower. It's going to have to, has to kick in at some point. Mostly willpower.
I was given this tablet that you take in the morning and at night, and it mirrors the receptors in your mind, in your brain, where all the cravings that you'd normally get. This tablet mirrors it, so I don't get the cravings that I would normally get. So, I mean, that's obviously been the biggest step in giving up with that. That's helped so much.
People quit in all sorts of different ways. The one single most important tip I can give people who are thinking about quitting smoking is don't do it on your own. Go and get some help. There are plenty of people out there who are expert in this, both mental health care staff and also people who work in NHS Stop Smoking services.
I found through NHS Trust a smoking class in the evening, one-to-one, that I put my name forward to, and I went, and it was on a weekly basis, and it was about 15 minutes a time, and I was on patches and lozenges, and that's how I gave up. And I found going weekly, and it was a one-to-one, I kicked the habit a lot quicker.
If you can manage something that your Joe Bloggs down the road, who has had no mental health problems, can't manage, then it is sort of, that's a point of self-esteem for a lot of people within the system, I believe, because one is perceived to be less strong by the general public than everybody else.
So we can see then why people start smoking, why they continue smoking. I can even see why people with mental health problems may see smoking as a supportive thing to do. It's not going to be easy to give up smoking, but with effort and with time, you can become a non-smoker again.
This idea that people with mental health problems can't quit, it's nonsense. They can and do every day.
To me, it's a mindset, and it's something you've got to take control over and just say, I'm not doing it.
I would say just take the advice, any advice that you can take from the doctors, associations around you, because it is definitely better for you not to smoke.
If you do suffer with any mental health and you are on medication, especially if it's one that can help you sleep and keeps you calm, you know, it really is an ideal time to give up.